The topic of religion is trending, and not just because of the newly elected Pope. A religious renaissance has been brewing across the nation for a while.
Why are people becoming Christian? I read an article earlier. This article talked about how Christianity was dying and how less and less people are becoming Christian, and after millennials, Gen Z is set to be the least Christian generation. You see, I'm part of Gen Z, and I've been a Christian for about 4 years, and I don't agree with that research. I felt it was at odds with what I was seeing with my eyes. That same article that published the research about Christianity being set to be the lowest it's been since before boomers and millennials, they are telling a different story now. In fact, Gen Z is the first Christian generation since baby boomers, where they are the first generation to be more Christian than the last. With a 63% versus a 60% millennial Christian group, we are officially seeing a rise in young Christianity again. But why is that? Why are young people so captivated all of a sudden by Jesus? We Gen Z grew up on cell phones, computers, and the internet. And we've been lied to, taught to compare ourselves to things that weren't real. And in the quest of searching after things that aren't real, eventually you plateau and you find out all of the stuff you were searching for was fake. And you feel lied to, you feel broken, you feel cheated, and you kind of feel like, what was the point? That's where I hit. Personally for me, I found my identity in making YouTube videos. I became a Christian only because my mom wanted me to. I'm not kidding. But all of a sudden, I was given something I'd never experienced before, which was a transformation that I cannot use words to describe because I no longer idolized YouTube. I had a full-time job doing what I thought I loved, but I had nothing. I was empty. And that's when my faith in Christ became real. And I believe that's what's happening with Gen Z. Gen Z has begun searching and searching and searching and searching, trying to find who they are, to the point they realized who they are cannot be defined by themselves and needs to be defined by their creator. And they're trying Christianity out and they're realizing, hold up, there is something that makes sense. And I think we were all told that we are supposed to create our own life and not to follow a plan made by anyone else. My second reason why I think young people are becoming Christian is isolation and the lack of community. You see, church has been one of the greatest points of community in human civilization for the better half of 2,000 years, where people would meet regularly to unite and to connect. And all of a sudden, we had all of that purposeful community stripped out and being told to replace it with meeting in a coffee shop every other day. You know, meeting in coffee shops are great, by the way. If you like using coffee shops, I love coffee shops. Coffee shops are great, and I love coffee too. But they're not an adequate replacement for what church is. And for the Christian watching this who thinks, I don't need church. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You need community. And you're probably missing something by not having it, so you should go get it. Christianity gives you a community you didn't know you were looking for, and it gives you something more than you asked. I have never experienced love like I have being a Christian. In fact, I don't think I knew love until I was a Christian. And that's the problem. I don't think Gen Z knew love until they heard about Christ. Gen Z got tired of conditional love, being told they need to provide value into the world in order to be loved. I think the last one for Gen Z is one I think might be a little controversial and probably the least talked about thing with Gen Z, is I think Gen Z is done being selfish. We're done putting ourselves first before everyone, saying it's my feelings that matter the most. It's who I am. I get to decide. In fact, I think Gen Z has realized that the consequences for being so selfish have costed them so much. And they're realizing that there's something so relieving in being given unto a selfless being. And that Jesus, who first exemplified selflessness by putting himself on the cross, is exemplifying how we can be selfless to serve one another. And for some reason, that's intriguing and it's exciting. but it's real. And that takes me back. Gen Z wants something real. They've been so selfish, feeding into the lies because the lies are convenient to them. But Gen Z has been looking for something real for quite some time. Because everything is phony. Everything is for their own. Everything right now you search for has some sort of monetary gain for someone somewhere, where they're profiting off of you. And Gen Z is tired of someone getting something from us. And they're wanting just to serve, be loved unconditionally, and find something that's real. And when you put your faith in money, in fame, in people, any one of those sorts, you find yourself always coming up empty. But you put it in Christ just one time, and you're forever changed. Look, if you're part of Gen Z today and you have not even considered the thought of God, please, I'm not telling you to pray right now as I watch this video, but I'm telling you, you need to think about God. You should at least give him a thought. Because your Gen Z brothers and sisters, they're finding something significant about this Jesus. And maybe it's your turn to find something.